My name is David Calvo. I am the Director of Family and Community Engagement at CABE, the California Association for Bilingual Education. And today, we are at CABE Conference 2023, and I'm so fortunate to have run into Silvia Dorta-Duque de Reyes,
Yes.
a renowned expert in bilingual education. We're so excited to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. This is a wonderful CABE event. It's so great to be back.
Well, you've been a CABE member for a long time now.
Yep, for a long time. I was a CABE member the minute I graduated from San Diego State University. I became a CABE member. I've been a CABE member ever since.
How long ago was that?
That was when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth. That's when it was. No, back in the 80s.
All right.
Yeah.
And how did
Early
the conference look back then?
Oh my God.
And how does it look now?
You know what? It's a lot bigger now, but it had the same amazing feeling of revitalization and energy that it has now. It was just at the beginning when we were, even to see a Spanish language book was an amazing thing. And I remember how little by little bit, the publishers started showing us that they had Spanish books and things like that. I remember my first CABE, I was still at San Diego State University with my cohort of student teachers, and we packed up in a pickup truck, went all the way to San Jose from San Diego, and shared batches because we couldn't afford the registration. We shared batches to get into the different sessions. And I was lucky enough to get into Dr. Alma Florada's session where she was talking about literature. She was talking about protagonism, about our voices, our responsibility as teachers, the beauty, the transformative power of literature. All these wonderful ideas for promoting critical thinking and that whole transformative pedagogy. And I felt so inspired. She fueled my soul. I also met Eleanor Thonis, who is no longer with us, but she's the first person who said, what about cross-linguistic transfer? What if we compared, contrasted, and connected English and Spanish? And at that time, she was saying, there's a young professor in Canada. His name is Jim Cummings. I think he might be at this conference. And can you imagine? We also met Jim Cummings, and it was amazing. And it's always been like that. CABE has always brought us the giants of the field, so we can meet them, understand them, learn from them. It's just an amazing thing that they do, but they don't stop there.
So earlier you shared that CABE has been a resource for you. What kinds of resources have you found at CABE?
Well, of course, there's the resources for teaching and learning, like we mentioned before. When you have a big conference like this, you get to see all the publishers, all the people that are part of the community that are also contributing and supporting bilingual education and dual language education. But also, as I became, more involved in the educational system, I learned how political bilingual education is, and I learned how, how you have to fight for it. You have to really build it. And CABE really has done a great job as an advocacy organization and as an organization that networks with other organizations like Sobrato or like Californians Together to really coalesce around legislation, around representation of language learners and biliteracy at the state level and at the national level. So that has been a very important thing. And every time I think about that, I think, wow, I'm so glad I'm a CABE member, because I know that in a small way, I'm also contributing to that. And every time I can, I contribute so that continues to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, the conference theme for this year is testimonials, the power of our stories, our art, and our dreams. How did you get involved in education?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was basically a receptionist at a company. And this gentleman walks in and he says, oh, I need somebody to translate this letter. So I said, oh, I'll do it for you. And so I translated the letter. It was a short little paragraph type of thing. And I handed it back to the gentleman. And then he left. And in a little bit, he came back. And I go, oh my goodness, did I do it wrong? Can I fix it? And he goes, nope, it's perfect. And let me ask you a question. Would you like to be a teacher? And I go, yeah, I would love to be a teacher, but I don't know how. And he goes, well, I am the Dean of Education at Palomar College. Wow. And there's this assembly bill called the Chacon Bill, AB 2817, and they were offering scholarships for people to become bilingual teachers. So he was always recruiting bilingual candidates. And so sure enough, I got recruited. I went to Palomar College and followed up at San Diego State University, and that's it. I evolved from there. I love it. Teaching is my soul. And CABE fuels it, Alma Florada fuels it, Isabel Campoy, Jim Cummings, all these beautiful, wonderful people that are part of our community, thanks to CABE.
That's wonderful. It's so great to hear these names from the past. As we reflect on the past, I wonder if you could share with us some of the key problems that we've had, like maybe Prop 227.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
What was it like back then?
It was insane. All of a sudden, just when we thought, oh my God, we're coming along, all of a sudden, there's this 227 and this run-ons, and we thought, you've got to be kidding. And everybody was out there campaigning, and I remember Rosalia Salinas. We dedicated so much time to informing parents, to gather the teachers and to vote no on 227, and all the campaigning that we did, the fundraising for the campaigning that went on. And then the vote came and we were devastated. But there again, people, you know what? None of us gave up. It hurt for a little bit, but immediately, CABE, Rosalia Salinas, Shelly, Marta, they all coalesced together, and we build, Francisca Sanchez. I remember all these people that were like the pillars, Lori Olson, and they coalesced together, and boy, it took 10 years, but we're back. We are back, people. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. So,
I actually heard that yesterday, and somebody quoted you saying that, and I was going to bring it up. Que aquí estamos y no nos vamos.
Y nos ponemos fuerte. So yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have this legacy, this history. But one thing is really important, and I really appreciate what you're doing, because we cannot forget this institutionalized memory.
Yes.
We have, teachers that are young, full of energy, and they're like walking the halls right now. And, it's kind of like, did you know that it's been such a long, hard road? And they themselves are brilliant heroes carrying everything. They've carried us through COVID and all these things that we have gone through. But knowing that we have CABE, knowing that we're together and we're this big community, there's strength in numbers.
So you're a key leader in this space. Could you share with us what you think some of the key issues right now are today?
Well, I think that as we are building biliteracy, one of the key issues is, and as English always has their movements, their dialogues for the English language, and as it should be, right? And they have their experts and people who lead that field. Well, one thing that we cannot do is we can't always adopt everything blindly. Yes, English and Spanish are two alphabetical languages. Yes, we do share that system, the subsystems of language, but there are similarities and there are differences. And there's similarity and differences in the way we implement some of these language universals. So it's really important that we are conscientious about what is the same and what is different, and how we don't just adapt something just because it works for English. It doesn't necessarily work for Spanish. So it's really important to remember that language carries culture, carries history, carries our soul, and we need to stay authentic and true to that. So we all have to be our best in discerning what can be the same and what needs to be different. Even if we have a framework of universality that is the same, some things are different, and we need to be in the lookout for that.
Absolutely.
And advocate for that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's happening now.
Silvia, as we bring this interview to a close, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I want to go back to Alma Florada and Isabel Campoy, and always, always, always know the power that you have to be transformative in the life of someone else.
Yeah.
And and that has to include the parents. That has to be, it has to include the parents. They have their stories,
Yes.
they have their effort, they have their knowledge, and they bring an incredible richness to our classrooms and to our community. And we need to respect that, and we need to honor that.
Yes.
Because we want our students to honor their parents. So that, to me, is an important part of the pedagogy. So we are a community. It includes our parents, our students' families. It helps us embrace our newcomers, and we need to stay advocacy and asset-oriented.
Yes.
That's my message.
Thank you so much for sharing your time.
Thank
your
you,
wisdom.
David.
I hope you enjoy the conference.
Okay, muchas gracias.